Justice Stats, Reggie Johnson, Eugene Morgan, coming to you from Love City of Atlanta, Georgia. And Eugene, we talked time and time again about OKC this past few years, about how we liked the team, how they were up and coming. They're a scrappy little team, league pass team, as you like to call them back in the day, when they were kind of on the come up. And now here we are, where they've actually cashed that check. That's a lot of people thought that they were going to, maybe a little bit later, because being such a young team to do it is something also to be talked about, right? Second youngest team to do it since Bill Walton's Trailblazers did it back in the day. All impressive, right? There's nothing bad here about this. This was an amazing run. Now, I think the only thing that really sucked about the situation is if I could say anything bad, was the Halliburton injury is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I think that at least me, I would love these contests when all of the superstars are present. There's not really any excuses. There's no going, you playing a team that's a shell of itself. It's kind of how I felt about the Toronto Raptors when they played that Golden State team with no KD and no Klay Thompson. When Klay went down, you didn't really play the same team that won those 73 games or so. You didn't really play the same team that won those games. In this particular case, even though Halliburton did go down, and I do think that sucks, this is a Thunder team that's been the best team all year. So this isn't one of those kind of situations, right? This is a Thunder team that's already came into this contest the favorite. And that's why it was so tragic watching the Halliburton situation, because the Pacers have shown such a resiliency that they weren't really being given credit for coming into the series. People thought they were going to get annihilated. The betting market was heavily skewed towards OKC. So that part really does suck. But with a team that won 68 games, playing on their home court at the very end, Game 7, I had picked OKC anyway, even with Halliburton there. I think that we got the right winner. I mean, I think that this is the right outcome. I mean, there's no way that we can take a crystal ball, kind of go back, put everybody back healthy, and kind of make them whole again and make the teams play each other. But I think at the end of the day, 68-win team, they have been a competent team for the last couple of years. Not like they just came out of nowhere. The draft has been great. I guess the Clippers must feel terrible giving up SGA now. SGA,
right?
MVP just won a championship. Your Clippers, you guys got to be killed. What? Like, you kidding me? But at the end of the day, though, it does this also, Eugene, change the way that you think teams will look at roster construction. So when I say that, change the way that teams look at roster construction, when you look at some of the teams of the past, and I will say that there's something that I've always thought, like, you needed a 2.5, you need a couple stars, you need a guy that's going to take that third role, a la Chris Bosh, kind of taking that third role, kind of falling back. You need that guy like that. And then there you go. You have what you need kind of to win a championship. But the OKC seemingly has just built this through young players in the draft.
Right.
Young players in the draft, and then smart free agent pickups here and there. They didn't go and send away half their team for a major superstar. And look what we have here. We have a championship. Do you think that teams now are going to look back at this and maybe kind of change the way they look at these other situations?
Well, you're trying to make a lot of teams competent. So we just watched the NBA draft, and there was a lot of incompetent teams out there. And I think the thing that OKC does well is they draft guys that fit their style. They don't look and go, okay, look, we need a point guard here, we need this here. They're like, we want this guy because he's going to be this. Like, and I know we're going to talk about the draft, but look at the guy they drafted, this young guy in the draft who will probably be their backup center in 2 years. They're going to put him on the bench. He's young. And they're like, oh, look, we're going to, this is one of those things. You can just see the blueprint. Like they just built their team. Like, we want this guy. He fits what we need now, but they're not afraid to go out and go, you know what? They always go for athletic guys, and they don't care what position they play, where they're at, but it just, so I just don't, how do you copy a model if you're going to be smart? Because we just see so many owners and GMs go, I'm the smartest one in the room. Let me draft this person, and go, well, everyone's taking a pass at him you're taking him at 5. Everyone has projected him at 20, but you think he's a 5, and it's like OKC never puts himself in that spot. And Indiana is just a fantastic story, right? They
Yeah,
they
man.
they get Halliburton, and they build around them, and they were like one of the low ends, like you said. Like if you betted them, you made some money. If you put money on them
Yeah,
at
for
the beginning
sure.
of the playoffs
Absolutely.
to
Yes,
go
you
to
did.
the finals,
You made some money,
just to go
man.
to the finals, you would make a killing. So I mean, in the East, you could probably duplicate that resume because the East is so wide open this year. So you could kind of
Yeah, it's because
get
of due to
away with
injuries, right? We
due
got a
to
lot of
injuries,
injuries out
right?
there in the East.
Yeah, and then you've got what you got Tatum, and obviously the Halliburton, and then you got
You
the
got
Knicks.
Lillard.
You got it right. You got Lillard, and then you got the Knicks. We don't know what's going on with their coaching carousel, right? And so we don't know what that's going to be. Yes, they'll probably be there no matter what who they put in the coaches side of it, but it's so wide open. So yeah, if you wanted to like duplicate that Indiana model and make a run for it, I think you have a good shot of that. You don't have to have like the West where you have a lot of stars, or you had like OKC where you saw those three guys just step up in that third and fourth quarter and kind of won the championship for them. But yeah, I have
It's
no
interesting because
disagreement.
both teams are kind of interesting there when you bring that point up because you kind of bring the Pacers into there, and there's a parallel there with what when you look at both of these teams in the finals. You got Hartenstein, it was a smart free agent pickup. You got Caruso,
Yep.
smart free agent pickup with OKC. You got Siakam, that was a smart pickup from on the Pacers side.
Right.
And when you look at that and you look at both teams kind of absent of that 2 to 3 superstar model that we have seen in championships previous times, you got guys that are there, but you don't have two guys that are making like $50 million, on the roster, while the rest you got about three guys that can come off the bench or so, so these teams, I think, have shown a different way of doing it. Now, when you look at the team in the East, when you look at the Pacers, would this have been the same if you do have the health, if you don't have the health issues? I don't know, but the Pacers, to their credit, have gone through some good teams to get there. So, and they were never given really a shot in any of these contests that they were participating in. So it's interesting to look at this team model, because you look at the one that won last year, you do still kind of have Brown and Tatum there, right? Brown and Tatum, and then KP was kind of that third, so to speak. That third guy, that's competent guy that can kind of get you a bucket when you needed one.
Right.
That's really all you really need that third guy to do, right? It's like be a competent guy, another third option, a competent, super competent third option. That would be a 1 or 2 option on another team if they were on another team.
Right.
When you're looking at these two teams, they had if you want to put Siakam in there and Halliburton, but I'm not sure that I would say that rises to the same kind of level as two absolute superstars. But they're both great players, though. So I really like Siakam a lot. And then when you look at OKC, and you have Green and I think Green, right? I'm getting that name right. I'm make sure I'm getting that name correctly. Green with SGA. Make sure I'm getting his last name right. Green, because I feel like they have a two-headed monster kind of forming there. They're not paying nobody right now.
No, they're not.
So they have a kind of a two-headed monster best building, and maybe 3 if you want to throw Chet in there, right? But Chet just got there.
Yeah, because you had
Williams.
like the Jay Williams, and you had
Jalen Williams. I don't know why I call him Jalen Green. I'm getting confused with
That's okay. No, that's what I thought. I was like, wait, that's where you're going.
I was like, no, I had a mind fart and got confused with Houston's Jalen, which we will talk about here in just a second. But but with Williams, that's kind of like that two-headed monster there.
Yep.
So you have that there. So both of them kind of had that second guy. If you got Siakam, if you're gonna say Halliburton was the first guy, Siakam was the second. You're gonna say Williams was the second guy, and SGA was the first, with a competent third guy there that you can go to. I think that this is a better model, man, because none of these guys are really, You're not paying these guys yet. You know how this goes. I mean, you're gonna have to soon when some of these rookie contracts are up, right? But I think you can keep the nucleus together. And if anything, one of the things that is underappreciated in OKC, in my opinion, is Sam Presti. Sam Presti is an amazingly great GM, man. He's been a competent GM. He's been a competent GM for a long time. And I think that that's underrated there in OKC.
Yeah, and they still, and like, remember the thing I sent you? I was like, when they lost the first game against Denver, I was like, here's my overreaction. Who are they going to like put in a trade package to get Giannis? And if you look at look at all the draft picks they still have. They still have things where, okay, they may lose a couple guys to free agency, but they can just go get that piece that you need in the draft. So it's just like they're going to be there now. Again, will it be a tough road in the West because the West is just getting, even better. Even when we're talking, I know we're going to talk about Kevin Durant, that trade, but I mean, they are still built to keep going. And that's the thing. It's like they have those guys. You have the Caruzos. You have the Wiggins guys that can come off the bench and give you those minutes and give you some points when maybe your stars are not getting it right away. And don't forget, Dort. That guy was just amazing he played his butt off on defense. So it was a fun series. I do like the consensus. It's going to be a series where we're going to think about a couple years. We're going to appreciate OKC winning, but we're still going to have that lingering doubt going. Man, I wish we could have saw Halliburton play because you could tell he was in a special moment. Like he had 9 points right in 7 minutes. It's like he was about to go off, and so it would just been nice to see. I'm not saying they would have won, but I'm just saying it would have been nice to see what that game would have been like if he would have been able to play the full game.
Well, let's get into the Kevin Durant trade here a little bit. Since I was bringing up our Jalen Green, let's talk about this here. Now, you like this trade, I think, a little bit more than I like this trade. I don't dislike it, much like the Porzingis trade we're going to talk about later. I don't necessarily dislike the trade.
Mm-hmm.
More so like I'm just, I don't know. I mean, if you're the Rockets, what the thing that this definitely tells you is win now. It's it. That's it, bro. You're win now. Win now mode is like now. It is as soon as this man touches down, you're in win now mode. And I think that's one of the things that a player like KD. So if you ever see KD get traded to your team, KD comes to your team, a player of that caliber and that at that age, at this juncture in his career, that says that we are trying to win a championship currently. Now, every team goes into the season saying we're trying to win a championship. They all say it, but we all know there's certain teams that are closer to this than others, well, at least have the requisite talent. Like, look at who won this year. OKC won this year, but they've been knocking. They've been knocking for a couple years here. SJ's been a great player,
right?
For a few years. They've been knocking for a few years. So this tells you when you come to a team like with the Rockets, or at least are saying, I would say to their fan base and to the NBA universe, is that they are ready to contend for a championship this upcoming season. How'd you like this trade?
I like it because it's like I didn't have to include Jabari Smith in the trade. I get out Jalen Green because I like Jalen Green, but
it was Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks. Just for everybody, it was Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the number 10 pick in this year's draft, and 5 second-round picks is what it was.
Yeah, which I'm okay with. I'm fine. Take my second-round picks. I don't really care about all those. We've seen some second-round picks. Yes, we obviously Joker would be the exception to the rule as long as we live, right?
No doubt about it. That's for sure.
No doubt. But it's one of those things. So we watched them play, and you could tell they were missing that guy to take it in the fourth quarter. Now, to your OKC point, young team, we just saw some incredible basketball, and young teams prevailed. So it's gonna be one of those things. You're gonna have to manage his minutes, right? Because you want him down that stretch, which they still have a good team around him, and it's like you didn't give away your future. You still got Jabari Smith, you still got one of the Thompson twins, and you still got. You've got good bench players that you can put into place Dylan Brooks that, I like it. I like it because they saw a need and they found it because they were like they knew they needed a score in that fourth quarter to, hey, we need a go-to guy in that quarter, and he can be that guy. Now, I understand the apprehension. You look at the games played. You look over the last couple of years. Obviously, he's older. And you're putting a lot of trust in him. And you have a great point. It is a win now. It is a win now, at least the next 2 years, right? You're not. This is it. It's either win now or at least Western Conference Finals, right? You at least want to get to that point with this roster. And
Yeah, for sure.
If you don't, yeah, and then you finals definitely. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Win now, and I like teams that do that. It's like, okay, look, we know we're missing. He's one of the best. I mean, he's one of the top 75 players of all time. It's, to your point, how the age, the minutes. What am I getting from him at this point? So it's a lot of unknowns, but I applaud them for at least going for
it. Me too. At the end of the day, when you want to see your franchise at least make a run at it, like you want to see your franchise at least act like they're trying to participate and win championships. Because you see some franchises kind of cosplaying as championship teams. Like they come in and say, hey, they say things to their fan base, but they know there's not a shot in hell that they have winning a championship. They're praying to maybe get a playoff berth, something like that. But this shows a team, we make a move like this. That's not what the Rockets are saying here. The Rockets are saying we are going to try to win a championship. Now, what Durant does bring the Rockets is shooting, because they were 27th in effective field goal percentage, while Durant is a 49.7%, NBA best 49.7% on jumpers and 53% on mid-range shots.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because he's going to fit in pretty good here from just a basketball fit. And also it was one of the 3 teams he wants to go to. Now, here's the thing about that. That's the other side of the situation. If you're a Rockets fan, you got to be glad when a guy says, I will come to your team, in the sense of, especially someone of Kevin Durant's caliber, you're one of the teams on the list, because he's saying, I think I have a chance to win a championship there.
Right.
This isn't just a situation where the team chose the Rockets, right? Where the team says, hey, Phoenix says, we're just going to send you to wherever we want to send you to. It doesn't matter what you want. The situation where Kevin Durant had 3 teams, it was the Heat, the Spurs, and the Rockets were one of the 3 teams. And that tells me that he thought that he would fit in good in these places, and that maybe these places are closer to a championship run than some people may give them credit for. And that's got to be feel good as a Rockets fan, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I just like that. That's what you want. You want a guy saying, and again, I just like Houston didn't give up a lot. There's not, they still got to keep, and that's the thing. Usually sometimes what happens is like a team guts their whole, their future and whatever's on their current roster. I mean, I like Dylan Brooks. I really do. I really want to see Jalen go somewhere where he can just thrive, because I think there's a star potential in that guy, but I like to see him go to.
I was hoping that Houston would keep him.
I really do. I think, and he has those moments. He does. You can see it. He has those moments. And it just wasn't like you're kind of waiting around for him, going, is it ever going to happen? But again,
I mean, he's young, right? Like he's
still young, right? Exactly. It could still happen. But I'm glad maybe he goes to, like I said, maybe Phoenix is the final stop. Maybe it's not. Maybe he goes somewhere else. But I'd like to see him go to something like that where he has the ball and see if he can really develop into that star that we've all kind of waiting for him to see him do, right? We've all been waiting for it to happen. But again, at least on the Houston side, those are your only 2 things you give up. And you give up all those second round picks and the pick from this draft. But that's a good part of them. It's like, oh, we give up these things. Even if it doesn't work out with Kevin, we still have this core of young talent on our roster, starting and on the bench.
Yeah, it's crazy to giving up young talent. I think that we just saw that the champions of this year be a cautionary tale on giving up on a young talent, because back in in 18-19, when the Clippers had SGA, he was only averaging about 11 points a game, 10.8. He's only averaging about 11 points, right? He goes the very next season, This man goes to the Thunder, and that average jumps up almost double to 19, and then he's off to the races from there. The
Right.
very next
'Cause they
season.
got
The very next season.
so maybe that comes happens with with Jalen. He goes because Phoenix is not going to be good. Let's just face it. So maybe he can. I mean, I know he'll be sharing the time with with Booker, but maybe they can stagger it where he can have the ball more and just can kind of be that guy. And maybe he develops into, like you said, like with SGA is a perfect example. He got to go OKC. They were horrible. It didn't matter. Put the ball in his hands and see what happens. So
Same thing with Halliburton. Halliburton's been those first 2 seasons with the
right,
Kings,
right,
averaging 13 points a season, averaging 14 points a season, and that immediately gets better as soon as he goes to the Pacers. Immediately gets better.
exactly.
So it's cautionary tale, I think, on getting rid of players 2 to 3 years, and I gotta look and see how long. But I think that when you're making a trade like this, I mean, this is a guy. This is Kevin Durant. Let's not get it. Let's not be crazy here. Jalen Green's gonna be out of here for Kevin Durant. We all know that. Dylan Brooks,
Right.
we all know you guys are gonna be gone. I mean,
Okay.
especially if we feel like when you fit the window, maybe that window's off. Because I think KD is going to come in and definitely be the veteran of veterans in that locker room in particular.
Correct.
But it's maybe that's needed. It'd be interesting to see if we see a leadership KD man take on a role. Like, what if we see that? We haven't really seen that situation with KD where he's really kind of had to do that, right? Because KD's come to teams where there's already a star there in the sense where it's already their team. Even when he did the Brooklyn situation, he came there with Kyrie at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like he just went there. Now I think with him coming to the Rockets, even though he's not necessarily a star player, he's gonna come to the right. Well, he's gonna be a star player now. I think he's a star player wherever he goes. But you get what I'm saying, because he was a star player when he went to Golden State, but it was still Steph Curry's team, no matter what
Steph Curry,
statistics said. I think that with the age difference that he is bringing to the Rockets, I think from some of the other teammates here, the legit chance to take a decent leadership role here in the locker room, man, and with the kids, kind of helping them out and maybe helping them get to a chip. He's got playing the way he is playing and shooting like you think he can play into his early 40s. Like he's playing,
right?
He's 37, and that stat I gave you about him averaging 49.7% on jumpers, the NBA best 49.7% on jumpers, was last year. That's this season.
Right.
So it's like, where's the fall off? You third best shooter? Or are you going the fifth best shooter? I mean, where's the fall off going to be? It seems like if you're averaging anything that's averaging number 1 in the league at this age, you might have a few more years left. And I think that KD going to the Rockets definitely makes the team more interested in nothing else, right? The Phoenix situation, I think, was kind of doomed to fail because it was very top heavy. They had to gut their bench, had to gut their depth to get them there. And it never seemed like it was going to work out. And it kind of played out like that. So I'm thinking if nothing else, makes the Rockets more interesting to watch, right?
Oh yeah. And plus he gets to go and he doesn't have to worry about they have a point guard in Houston. They've never had a point guard in Phoenix. So right there, the dilemma number 1's already solved. So they have a ball handler. So they have a good core and they have a good coach. I mean, it's a ready-made team for him to go into, and like you said, they didn't get they didn't gut their team, and they have talent. So I think it's gonna be, like I said, it's gonna be a fun team to watch.
It's interesting. An interesting note here, just for people who may be Rockets fans and about these players, what this organization feels about these players is one of the things you can read on ESPN's articles about this subject is that Jabari Smith and Reed Shepherd were talked about in their deal, but Houston didn't want to include them. Houston, they didn't want to do it. So that shows you they feel pretty good about their little young players there, right? I mean, it's easy we see people move off of guys. It shows, hey, we don't really like these guys that much. But they held pat, didn't want to move off their guys, and they didn't have to. So that makes this deal, I guess, even better for them now that I'm reading that.
Correct.
On to the draft. Nothing really crazy here for me. Some of these guys, I don't really know them all too well. But it's a situation where we kind of see the fortunes of at least one team change it, despite all the boos. You get a lot of boos there for Nico Harrison. I feel like probably boos are probably coming for a million years now. But another thing, I mean, Cooper Flag going 1. I mean, that's pretty much the takeaway. We can look at some of these other. We could break down kind of the draft in general and how that went. Do you like the draft? Any surprises? Any shocks? I guess for me it was a very ho-hum, like a very meh. Not necessarily to the players, but things kind of nothing super exciting happening. No super late day trades. Brooklyn had a bevy of picks. They kept every single one of them.
Yeah, I was shocked by that. I thought them getting all that draft capital, I thought they were going to make a move. They didn't do anything. I mean, the one thing that drives me nuts about the draft is I can't figure out why they haven't figured this piece out. If a guy's traded and we see it on Twitter, we see it on all the socials, just come up and say the rights have been traded to this team and let the guy get the right hat. It just drives me nuts. It's like, let him get the correct hat that we don't have to wait till after the draft. We don't have to wait till the players included because of whatever restrictions or whatever, because of this, that, and that. Just, it doesn't matter. Just say the draft rights have been traded to this team. They're on the clock. Whatever. They draft the kid. He puts on the right hat. I just don't understand because it gets so frustrating. I'm watching it going, wait a minute, is he on the team? And I'm looking at Twitter that he got traded. So that's the one thing that frustrates me just watching the draft. And also it's like, why do we have to wait the time link for Cooper? I mean, they just hand Adam the envelope when he says, Dallas, you're on the clock. Oh, wait a minute, I have the envelope right here. Open it up right away. There's no reason to just do the suspense. We all knew Cooper was going to be the number 1 pick when he declared for Duke, when he was going to come out. It was like whoever that team was going to draft him. So I just wanted like that.
That's funny when he declared for Duke. Like we all knew he was going to be the number 1 pick when he declared. Like when he declared, and yet we're waiting here on the night. If there's some suspense here. You know what I mean? We might as well just you should start the program with the kid on stage, man. Let's just do us all a favor. Exactly. Start the program, have the kid standing back there, already ready to go. Man, we had the same situation when Wemby was getting drafted, right? Like, let's not play games here.
Let's not play the game.
On stage as soon as this thing starts. And we go ahead and get that over with, and then we can really kind of start to get into the draft and see what's really going on here.
We legit knew the first 2 picks.
Correct. And it played out like that. The kid Dylan Harper from Rutgers, guard, goes to the Spurs. Yeah, the Spurs, man. You got something to look out for the Spurs. Look out for the Spurs because I'm seeing something here that I saw with that's a little bit different because the Spurs do have Wemby, so they have that massive superstar there. But with the Spurs, one of the things that you should look out for is competent drafting. If these draft picks work out for them, because they're drafting highly, and this is something that I saw with OKC. OKC was drafting pretty well. If these draft pick Castle worked out, okay, Wemby worked out, Castle worked out. Now they got Dylan Harper. Mm-hmm. It's gonna turn. We could have a real situation brewing here in San Antonio, man. We can have a real, and we're on the same timeline. Let me tell you something, guys. I love timelines, man. I love when we're on the same timeline. I love a bunch of kids, or let's have a bunch of kids, or a bunch of old folks. Give me one or the other. You know what I mean? I want everybody here, as many people as I can get on that same timeline as possible. But I think this is great. I think this is great for San Antonio. 76ers, they took a guard. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on in Philly, man, because when you have players like Embiid with the contract that he's going to command there, Paul George, right? Have they even started playing Paul George yet? Like, I don't even know if Paul George's new contract has even started yet.
I've seen him in so many trade rumors. I got blinded by how many times I saw Paul George in some kind of trade rumor during all this going on.
Yeah, man. I don't know if what Philly's really doing. I don't think that, unfortunately, I don't think any draft pick randomly is going to change their fortunes. Like, I don't know what's going to. Philly's in a world of trouble because of being so heavily dependent on one guy. You're really going to go as Embiid goes. Like, I like Maxey, but Embiid making with the money that Embiid makes, if he's not contributing, there's a ceiling on that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There's a ceiling on that,
Yeah.
especially when you're looking at how good the Pacers are getting, how good the Knicks are getting. If when Lillard comes back, the Bucks be back in there. You got other teams out here, and you're very much dependent on what Embiid's going to do. Or if Embiid doesn't come
Right.
back, then who cares? I mean, not unless your draft picks are going to be phenomenal. So I guess we'll see. They took the kid from Baylor, VJ Edgecombe from Baylor. Ace Bailey was an interesting story, right? Ace Bailey, what an interesting story from Ace Bailey, because some of this was kind of fact like, hey, we don't want to go there, we don't want to not draft us, and he got drafted anyway to the Jazz. What do you think? What do you make of that?
It's I sent you that funny thing about from Tropic Thunder with with Tom Cruise being like the pretend GM. It's like Danny Ainge, he's gonna draft the guy he wants in that spot. It's like, okay, great, but I just think if he gives it a chance, you've got a good GM there, you've got a good young coach, they're building a good young core. Go there and check it out. I understand what he's saying. He didn't want to play there, but I think if you just give it a shot, they're not that the Jazz of the last 10 years, right? They are competent. They are trying to build a team, around young guys. And I think he fit really good in there. So I fit well. So I'm not gonna get in the weeds of, I saw he's disappointed. Just go have a chat with the coach. Go have a chat with the GM. I think you're gonna find some really smart people there. And they're not. I know they've been taking the last couple of years, but at some point they want to turn that corner, and they want you to be a piece of it. So just go. I'd rather be there than Washington. just saying.
Yikes, man. Maybe it's just a city. Maybe it's want to be Utah. What about the kid that went to Toronto? Yeah, I saw a video about him cursing when they was it Colin Murray Boyles? Cursing when they called his name. There's a I think that's the kid. When he got drafted, dropped the F-bomb and got caught doing it on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know if he's like Toronto. I mean, but how does that look for your local introduction, man? What are you gonna say? Like, man, I was just so happy to go there that's what I was saying. Like, F-yes.
Yeah.
Man. That's what is that gonna be the spin on that? Because when you go to talk to the local media there.
Because I don't know, did you see the one where when everyone was like talking about the current ones, people started posting the one with Steph got drafted by Golden State, and he definitely disappointed, and look how well it worked out for them. I just think, yes, they're disappointing. Yes, they probably didn't want to go. This is the team they want to go to.
Maybe he doesn't want to go to Canada. Maybe that's the thing.
Yeah, that could be too, but I don't know. Just I think I said I let's see when they actually get in there, meet the team, the staff, and see what happens. It's fun social media banter, but until they're there, and if it still becomes an issue, then if they become here's the thing, you want to at least try and go at least play through your rookie contract, because if you're going to be a bad teammate, no one's going to want you at that point.
Correct.
Even if he's like, I want out. Those situations never work out for you. So I say go work out to your first contract and see what happens from there.
When you go past the 10th pick in the draft, and probably starting with the 10th pick is where you see all the trades start. Everybody kept their picks from 9th under. From 10th all the way until the end of the draft, you had, with the exception of the 28th pick and the 12th pick, there was some type of trade implication or a pick that they got from somewhere else.
Right.
Those are the only picks where people possess their picks. None of the teams in the draft, in my opinion, I gotta see what these kids do. I'm not very good because I don't watch enough college basketball games to give draft grades and be like, hey, you took a great player. I don't know how good this kid is or not. And I'm really not gonna know until they come in. I mean, Cooper Flag, the top end of the drafts tend to do okay, but even that is no guarantee. So I'm gonna have to go out and see how this all shaped out. But is there anybody you felt like did terrible? You got any? The Hawks were able to get back in.
Oh my gosh, the Hawks are just. I mean, I know we talked about it before we got in the draft. 2 years in a row, man. This is just I mean, look at this. We trade DeJounte last year. We get Dyson Daniel. We get the 22 round pick, right, to get back in this draft. And to flip that 22nd, I know we're going to talk about Porzingis next, but to flip that and just flip the 22nd pick to Boston, get it expiring with Porzingis, and then at all top of that, going, oh, by the way, New Orleans, we're the Hawks. We're like the hot ex girlfriend. We're making the old boyfriend do whatever we want. Hey, would you go feed my cat who's like 18 years old? He's got all these kind of like things going on. He's like all these kind of medications. But we're just batting our eyes at New Orleans, and they're going to do whatever we want. So what do we do? We're not. We give them our what is it, the 12th? I can't remember, 12, 13, whatever pick it was.
Give them the 13th.
13 for them to go up 10 spots, and then we like, oh, shoot! Could you imagine him being in that room with the Hawks, going, wait a minute, we all you have to do, you get our pick, and we get it unprotected next year, which next year's draft is supposed to be just as high as this draft. Okay, so and are you thinking New Orleans is going to be any good this coming season? Maybe they're a playing team, maybe, but I mean, I'm not putting my bet on Zion being healthy for 82. When's the last time Zion's been healthy? Never, right? And then I love DeJounte, but he's still coming off injury. They just traded some of their players, and I just can't believe we got away with this again. I really can't. Just from just what this team, what they've been doing the last couple of years, it's amazing. And we got a nice little reserve piece on the later round. A good solid shooter, another wing player. I mean, again, it's like you said, it's the rookie player. Like you said, we got to see him play. But I mean, if he works out, great. If not, it's not like we gave up anything to get him. All we did was give up our, let them move up. We took their pick, and we just maybe picked up a solid, a reserve player in the draft. So I can't believe how, and I said this to you before we got on this call. It's like between the Falcons, the Hawks, how have we become like competent in the last couple of years on the GM side? I'm drafting. I can't believe it.
Well, we'll see how this all works out. Last but least, is get to our guy here, Porzingis. Do you like this trade? Okay, so this trade for me. Asked some of my friends, and they were pretty excited about this. I wasn't necessarily, or I say mixed emotions. I get mixed emotions. I have some people who were and some people weren't. Mm-hmm. The thing about the issue I have with Porzingis is a guy that is injury prone. And I've been consistently consistent, if I can say. On the subject matter throughout the time on this show.
I'll allow it.
On this show, throughout this time, how I feel about players who have injuries being discussed as if they never had the injuries. And I feel like in some of the conversations I've had about Porzingis, some of it's that, like, hey, we got Porzingis, and that's great at the top of his game. He's not like he's old. At the top of his game, that's great, but it's kind of the same time. It's he's in and out of lineups. When I look at games played, the highest he's ever played was 72 in his rookie season. Okay. and it is, let's go back the last 5 years, because then you get 42 last year, 57 year before, 65, 17, 34, 43, 57, 48, 66, and back to his rookie year, 72 and 66. So in these 10 years, for one, he's never played near all games, but a lot of players don't. So I don't really fault players for that. I'll give players anything over 70, to be honest with you. If you get it to 70, I think that's sufficient in today's NBA. But some of the better players, like, your boy, was it Bridges? He plays a lot of games in New York there, man. But a lot of players don't. So 70, I'll give you that. And he's not making that. He's not making nowhere near that.
No.
He got 165 in there, though. 2022-23 season, he did play 65 games. I mean, he averages 14, and his career averages. Okay, let's go career averages. Career averages 20-8, because that's more, it's definitely more flattering. 28, and even last year he was 20-7, and then about 20-7. So he's gonna give you about 20-7. And I think that's serviceable. I don't dislike it. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not super enamored with this trade. I would say it's not something that I'm like I feel great about, but it's not something I feel terrible about either. It's just very meh for me personally. How do you feel? He's 29. How do you feel?
I feel okay with it. I mean, I'm like you. If it works out, great. If not, it's not the end of the world. Because, like I said, we only gave up the 22nd. Did we give up Levert? I think that was one of the part of the trade because he was out on that. But it's an expiring contract, so we're not like held hostage by it. So it's we get another rim protector, which we need because with trade, he's obviously not our defensive stopper. It
We got rid of
extends the bench.
Terrence Mann and the 20. So the Nets received Terrence Mann and the
Terrence Mann, thank you.
George Ding and a future second round pick for the Celtics, and then we got Kristaps.
Gotcha. Oh, thank you. But so it's not like we didn't give up like I said, we didn't mortgage the future. He's not tied to us. So it's a nice flyer. He's not killing our cap. We're not going over any of the aprons. We still have that $25 million trade exception that we can use and get maybe you get a backup for him. Just maybe a backup scorer. Maybe you get another wing scorer. But I mean, on paper, it looks good, right? Because we got the center that we're kind of lacking. You extend your bench, but you have a good point. You play out the game walks. He didn't play in the playoffs. We didn't know what his injury was. It wasn't like you go like with Halliburton. He had a calf strain. We know what it was. We know what that might lead to. But this, you had no idea. There was no mention of what the injury was. What was keeping him out. But it's. I do like how I like with Houston. I like how the Hawks are like, you know what? This East is wide open. Why not? Let's just go for it. Let's bring a guy in he's a champion, and let's see what happens. So I like it from that aspect, but I'm not. Would I be surprised if he only plays 40 games? No. I'm not betting on him playing.
Yeah, the shock would be him actually playing 60, 65. Let's get back up to the 65. Can you give us that?
65. If you play 65 games, right. If you give me some 80 type games, 65, 70, I'll be happy with that. So but again, even without him you still have Jalen Johnson. You still have Okongwu. You still, like I said, let's see what they do if they sign anybody with that trade exception. Before the season starts, and then again, I just like it. Again, I love the Hawks being like, here we go, Trey. We're putting all these pieces around you. No more excuses. I know Jalen.
They've done that time and time again. We talk. We could do a whole another show.
We could do a whole show
with just coaches alone. We want to go into the play. We can do a show. It'd be an epic, and we could start with the coaches. You know what I mean? I don't know what other personnel they've gone through there in that time, but we could definitely start there.
Coaches, GMs, maybe assistant GMs, maybe some shooting coaches. But yeah, you're right. So, but it's one of those things. It's like, okay, look, and so you got, like I said, they haven't mortgaged the future. They go this year and go, look, we're going to go for it. See what happens, because wide open East, and if it doesn't work out, you still kind of can move off Trey. You don't have to sign Porzingis long term unless he does well and you want to. I wouldn't personally. I would just see how this year goes and go, thank you for your time. Even if you scored 37 and 6, after the season, I'm sorry, I'm just not going to fall for it because just how many times have we seen that happen? Guys in a rookie in that last year contract miraculously does well.
Play the best year of their life and get injured. And don't play into their contract. They're injured first year into the contract.
Right. How we could do a whole show on that one too. So, but
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I'm just excited for just to see this season and just for them to actually be competent for a change.
It's just the stats. Eugene Wharton, Reggie Johnson. Check us out. Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast. I'll see you next time. All right.